Hi, Sneha. Welcome on to the Career Show. It's such a pleasure to have you on today.
Thank you, Trisha. Thank you for having me. This is an honor.
I'm not sure if you know this, but a couple of weeks ago, I had a guest known Gaurang Sangvi, who is popularly known as Ask That Finance Guy on social media. And he has a career trajectory similar to yours, right? In the sense that he has a day job in the corporate world. And during the night, he usually has this passion for putting our financial literature content out there for students and people my age. But for him, his journey began very suddenly with social media. It came out of nowhere and it just started in lockdown. So I wanted to start off by asking whether you always knew that you would pursue your passion for dance and software engineering from the very get go, or is it something that you stumbled upon as time went by?
I still am a normal human being who was taught or not taught, who always followed the society myth that if you are making a career, it has to be, in doctor, engineer, or something which is science, arts, commerce related. And dancing, singing, painting, whatever, reading is just hobby, and nothing can be done with it, right? So I was just a normal girl who would study, who would thrive for that 90%. Like I was that girl who, even if I don't get 95 or if I get 94.3, I would cry. So, I was that girl who used to go for 1 hour of Bharatnatyam class. My mom used to take me, that's it. Come back, study once again. Okay. The day I got to know that my dancing is a second side of me is after I moved to USA, which was 2 years back in 2018. So till then, dance was still just my hobby, something I just never knew I'll have Sneha Desai as a name in. I was just a simple girl who was learning. I was also hired by a studio back in Pune, and I was teaching that time, but that was just like a side thing that I was doing, just because I liked it.
Mhm,
So I just never knew that dancing could make a certain personality of me, which people would know.
mhm.
Yeah.
But you always knew that you had interest in the field of dance and software engineering. Is that correct?
Software engineering, no, that's another story. That just happened. My education background is very different, and if we dig deep into my education background, which we might further on, but software engineering was never like a part of my path. Dancing was also neither a part of my path, but I was always dancing ever since I was 4. My mom had made sure that either I'm a dancer or a singer, so that any party, any dinner we go to, Sneha has to get up and dance. So that was me. But yeah, I mean, it just came out of nowhere. Like today when I reflect on it, I just don't know where did it come from.
So let's talk about software engineering. Let's talk about your education background, and let's talk about how all of those things combine together. Because that's the first thing. Your corporate job is the first area of your career that you started out of. So let's talk about your education background and how you started off in the field of software development.
Right. So, typical, I did my 10th, scored really well in India. A little background before that is I'm born and raised in Portland, Oregon, United States. And in my fourth grade, fourth standard is when I moved to India. And then fourth onwards, I pursued everything in India. So 10th, I was from an ICSE board in Pune. And then 11th, 12th is the time when you decide whether you want to do science, commerce, or arts. And I had two uh, likings that I wanted to go with. One was either doctor because I really liked biology. So I was like, okay, doctor banna hai. Then I started calculating, when will I become a doctor? And I was like, okay, this is just too long a process. But then I was more keen towards learning psychology. And I really wanted to pursue that, and I was really intrigued by the subject. So I decided to take arts, and I went into the field of arts. I did 11th, 12th in the arts field. Once you take up arts, it's really impossible to divert your path, because there are very limited options to it. Unfortunately, 11th, 12th, when I was pursuing arts, maybe the faculty that I came across and everything, it just degraded my interest in arts overall. Like psychology also as a subject, maybe I just couldn't get into it because of the teacher. So then
Mhm.
I didn't get much of a background where I could pursue psychology, or whether I could even dig deep into my interest for psychology. So then after 12, I came into that dilemma where I was like, okay, what do I take now? Because I don't think I want to do psychology. And I kind of had the faculty scar in my mind that I might not get a good teacher. So my family, my dad is from the computer background. He's also a software engineer, and he's done years of service. He owns his own business, etc. So then we decided that, okay, let's go back into computers. But there was the restriction that, hey, this girl is an art student, she's not from science background, so I couldn't become an engineer. But then we figured out a course called bachelor's in computer applications, which accepts arts and commerce students.
Mhm.
So that's when I diverted into the computer field, and my dad helped me get into that background, like teach me basics and the knowledge that I need to start pursuing my BCA. And after that, my computer journey began.
Mhm.
Pretty unexpected.
Once people are focused on what they're studying, they usually end up focusing simply on that part. But the
Right.
fact that you diverted yourself towards another field completely is super inspirational. Let's talk about your job search now. When you were looking for a job, was money a criteria for you, or were you looking on the development side where you could learn more about the computer development, software development skill of yours?
To be honest, I wasn't experienced to know how much money would I get at my level after being a fresh graduate. So my basic hunt was to get a project where I wanted to be in the development section and not in the testing section. So I just wanted to make sure that I find some place, some position, in some company where I don't get derailed into being a QA or a tester. I wanted to stay in that development field.
Mhm.
So the job hunt actually began in my last year of college. Companies started coming in, last year of college, you get placements, right? So I got placed in a company, and all my friends were in it. So I was pretty excited. But I decided to not go for that company and go for another company where I found better project opportunities, where I knew that this company may be not well known as the other company that had hired me, but the company which wasn't well known actually had good projects, which I was assured of that I would learn for sure. So then I decided to go for that.
Mhm. I quickly wanted to touch on how did you find your passion for development compared to testing? Because I know those are two completely different things, and you seem like you were pretty set forth on development. So, what was the reason behind that?
Testing, I just don't have the patience to sit in one place and stare at a screen and find out small details that might go wrong. And I just know that when my OCD starts kicking in, I think I would give in more hours than expected at my work time.
Mhm.
So that was the only reason why I did not want to go into testing. For me, I found it not my cup of tea. Development, I won't say I was good at it. In fact, my best friend used to help me pass. So I wasn't the best at it, but it just had this thing that there's always something to learn. You have to use your head and add that logic, and algorithms was like I was always interested in the logic part of it. So that kind of pushed me more towards development.
Mhm. So, now you've been in this field for around 2 to 3 years, is that correct?
6 years.
Wow. Okay. So, what has been one of your most exciting moments? It can be a funny story, it can be a challenging story. What has been one of the most exciting parts of your software development career?
The funniest so far is when I joined the company that I opted for. So I was a person who hated the C language that was taught to us. Okay. So I focused more on Java, and I was more trained into that. And, I could excel that really well. But when I joined the company, the first project that they had was an iOS project. And they were like, Sneha, we see potential in you. We're going to push you in that team. The people working on it will train you. And that turned out to be C language. And I was like, okay, where am I don't know anything. I don't know what is iOS. I don't know development. I didn't even know Android development that time. So I was like, okay, this girl is just a new bachelor graduate girl, and you guys are just pushing her into something she does not know at all. I was like, gone. I'm going to get fired in like the first week itself. But no, I mean, maybe the people who taught me were also really good, so they pushed me. But that was like the funniest. Like, no one will ever imagine me stepping into iOS programming when I had zero knowledge of that language as well.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You said that you barely had any knowledge about C, iOS development, Android development. What were one or two key things you did so that you were successful at this first project that you were so nervous about, if I could put it that way?
So this was a good thing that I learned in the team, and especially the team leader out there. He just gave me one page to develop, okay, in that, which was not getting launched at all, but it was just like a practice page. So he hyped it up a lot for me, saying this is going to be needed and you are going to have to do this. And then of course I did a lot of self study as well to know the basics of the language. And algorithms stay the same everywhere. It's just the coding language and the style changes, right? And then your brain works according to that language. But then what he taught me is keep redeveloping that page every single day. So even if I got that page correct, where it I coded it and then it developed and I could see the output correct, he used to make me delete it and rewrite it without copying, without seeing the reference. So that kind of got me into the flow of the language. And then like that, he started giving me various pages where I started, remembering what I used to do in that old page, and then I would do the same thing and I would add on my logic, etc. That's how I kind of got the hang of it. And then funny story, I got moved into another project and that didn't have C and it came back to Java. So that kind of made me realize that don't be master of one, be jack of all.
Hmm? Practice is key, right? At the end of the day, and that
Right.
definitely is one of the funniest stories, I'm sure. But let's switch gears and come to dance now.
Yes.
You do both, which is excellent. Let's talk about the first time you knew that you are going to pursue dance as a career. You said that it happened when you came back to the US 2 years ago. Do you want to take us through that entire journey of a few years before that and a few years after where you currently are, and how you knew that you were going to pursue dance as a career?
So to be honest, in fact, till now, I was just going with the flow and I didn't realize that I am actually pursuing passion and profession at the same time. So my life has actually about 10 years now. My life has been the same. Even before I graduated up till now. While my graduation days also, I would go to college, which was like 40-45 minutes away from my place. I would ride my scooty to college, study, and I would always have an extra backpack of dance clothes with me because that time I was working with a studio in Pune. So I learned from them. I started learning belly dancing from them. And then they hired me when they opened their studio and they hired me as an instructor. And then under that guidance, I started teaching and I learned how to grow more as a teacher and a dancer. Up till then, I didn't even know I was a dance teacher. Like, I didn't know I had the capability also. So then that's how I lived. And then I had to move here. So of course I couldn't continue with the studio I was working with because I had to move. But then before leaving for India is when one of my videos got viral immediately after I made my Instagram public. And that video named me as Sneha Desai. Up till then, I was not Sneha Desai at all. People in Pune, my students, my friends at dance class, they used to call me D for
Mhm.
Desai. So I was known as D. But after that one video, before I came to US, that was like February 2018. Okay, that's when I became Sneha Desai, the dancer. And March 2018 is when I had to move to USA. So I had to leave India. And I was like, okay, now I thought I was finished, you know. I'm like, there's no career, there's nothing in dance. That was just one time, like, you know, just honeymoon period for me, and that's it. Come back to real life. You're going to work, and that's your life, you know. But then when I came here, I realized that I was so addicted to teaching more than dancing. I was actually missing it. So the first 2 months I took to settle down in USA. Like, even though I'm born in Portland and I somehow coincidentally came back to the same city, I just didn't have any friends. I didn't know anyone because everyone had moved away, you know. So everything was pretty new to me. um and then when I came, first 2 months I settled down. That was the first time I was away from home, so I didn't even know how to, like, you know, live. I didn't know how to cook, nothing, you know. It was just all new to me. And then after 2 months or so, I just broke down and I called my mom and I was like, Mom, I can't live here. I need to dance, I need to teach. So my mom's like, okay, why don't you search for dance classes? And then I searched like random classes to teach, who would teach me at least, so at least my dancing stays in touch. And then I joined those and I was like, no, this is not enough. I still want to teach. I want to, like, you know, share some of my knowledge with people and all. And then from there it started, where I started creating contacts. A lot of Facebook helped me. And I had a lot of mom's family friends who kind of said that, hey, we want to learn from you, even though we are kind of like your mom's age, can you please teach us? And I'm like, anything works, I just want to teach. So basically that's where my individual dance career started from. And that's when, like, you know, I was known as Sneha Desai, the dancer and dance teacher,
Mhm.
basically. Yeah, long
You
story.
mentioned no, you mentioned that until now you have been going with the flow, and that is something that I want to talk to you about. But before I get into that, do you want to talk about those first few shoots of yours, right, when you got to Portland, Oregon? How was it experiencing when you started uploading on YouTube? You currently have like more than 100K subs on YouTube. So, how was that entire journey of the first few videos? What is something that was going through your head? How did you prepare for this first few shoots? What was the quality of this first few videos? And how was that entire process for you?
So, when I started becoming public and when I started seeing the numbers grow, I honestly had no idea what was happening. And I was like, you know how those moms read WhatsApp and they like take the phone close to them and they're like scrolling, saying what is happening, ye pad ke dikha and all that. I was literally like that with Instagram, and I thought that my account is hacked, my numbers are going, these are bots. I just didn't know what was happening. And then I started Googling on simple, silly questions like, why are my likes increasing? Why do I have 100K views on my video and stuff, you know? So that kind of like taught me that, okay, Sneha, people are following you because they like your dance. To be honest, I wasn't very confident about my dancing either, because I was always known as Sneha Desai, the belly dancer. I was not known as Sneha Desai, the dancer. So that kind of kicked in. And then I realized that my crowd is only India, but if I want to teach in USA, I need to have a more organic platform where, you know, people all over the world can see me. At least people in USA, or at least in Portland, people can see me, so they know who she is, right? Not everyone might have Instagram, but I know that everyone definitely goes on YouTube for sure in all these years. So then I one of the videos of mine that got viral, I just uploaded that on YouTube. No thumbnail, no hash, no keywords, no good caption, nothing. Like, I didn't even know how to post. I just posted. In fact, it's not even a rectangle video, it's a square video. Worst quality video ever. That went on YouTube, and obviously it's not going to get views because no one knows about my channel.
Correct.
So I never even publicized my YouTube channel, to be honest. And I never knew how to, because I'm a software engineer, I'm a developer, I'm not a marketing person. I've never learned how to market things, you know. So then I just started observing various dancers, a lot of dancers in USA who I follow them on Instagram. I would see how they work, how their videos are. That's when I realized that dance videos can have motion and it looks good and all of that. And then I realized that people make concept videos, people make videos with backgrounds and everything, you know. That's when I started learning all of that. And then one day I was just sleepless. Like, I was just not getting sleep, and I'm like, okay, Sneha, let's step in and choreograph something which is not basic level that I was teaching in Portland. Okay, so I was like, okay, let's choreograph. You're not getting sleep. So there was this song Tarifa that had just kicked in. It was new, and it was just stuck on my head. Like everywhere I go, I'm just singing that song. So then at night, I was just listening to that music, and I'm like, okay. In my sleep, I was lazy to get up, so I was just lying down, and in my sleep, I just choreographed something. I imagined it, and then the next morning, I practiced it in front of a mirror, and I'm like, okay, this looks pretty decent. Let's do one thing. Since you put in so much hard work, let's shoot it. Okay, and then I'm like, how to shoot? I don't know. I was like, okay, phone tripod. I tried putting my phone on a tripod, and I had an iPhone 6s, which had a horrible camera. So then I put that didn't work out. And then I was just scrolling on Facebook, and I saw this video where video credits were Dhaval Patel, and the location was Oregon, like very close to where I was staying that time. And I'm like, okay, video credits Dhaval Patel. The video looked pretty professional and good edited and all. So I'm like, this guy Patel hai, so he's a Gujarati. I'll be comfortable in talking to him because I'm a Gujarati. So I'm like, I was very shy also. So I'm like, okay, let's try contacting him. And then I contacted him, and then he helped me record my video. That was the first time, like, he had also done a motion range video. That's the first time I had shot a video. Like, I had to decide costume and everything. And that's when my YouTube journey actually began, where I studied keywords, I studied titles, I studied how to write description, I studied how to put it up on Instagram and everything. Like, that time I was so shy to talk on camera, so I didn't even know how to talk on a story, like, hey people, so go and check out my new YouTube video and stuff. That was all new to me. But then that's the flow that I'm talking about. Like, till now I'm still learning something new about a YouTube upload every single day.
That journey is incredible. But one thing that I want to pick out is anyone who follows you on social media knows that Dhawal is now your husband.
Yes.
So your passion also helped you find your love of your life. So that
Yes.
is super amazing. I mentioned earlier that I wanted to talk to you about going with the flow, right? How important was that for you? Because I'm sure that your day job would have kept you super busy throughout the day, and you did not get enough time to plan about pursuing dance as a career alongside software development. So, how important for you was to go through with that flow?
So, like you mentioned, your question had a lot of the answer out here. So, because I have a day job, I don't know where my time schedule goes, right? Sometimes, suppose a production issue comes up, and even though I knew I was going to get free by 4:30 p.m., I just pulled on till 6:30 because my job needed me, right? So then that's the main reason why I don't pre-plan, and especially I don't pre-plan a week. I don't even pre-plan my day, because I know that if I pre-plan and for some circumstance I don't get to meet that and I don't get a tick mark out there, it's just going to eat me up mentally, and I'm just not going to be able to live with myself, where I'm going to keep feeling guilty, and I don't want to bear that burden of guilt, which is why I don't pre-plan at all. I just pre-plan only if, like, I have a workshop tour or something where I have something like in future dates or so. But other than that, like, I don't pre-plan that, okay, I'm going to work till 5 and then I'm going to dance till 8 and then I'm going to have dinner till 9. And no, I'll go according to my flow, that if my work goes on till 4, well and good, I'll squeeze in my workout and I'll have my dance after that. I'll watch something, I'll have dinner. And then that satisfaction at the end of the day, where I'm like, okay, then that's when I reconcile and I go through what I did during the day, and I'm like, oh, I actually did so much. That satisfaction actually helps me sleep, rather than developing a guilt saying, oh, I had planned meeting friends, but hey, that didn't happen today because I didn't get time, right? So that's actually really worked well for me, where I go with the flow.
So you go with the flow, that's amazing. But like you mentioned, there are times wherein you have dance workshops alongside your software development projects. How do you plan for those? So how do you manage your time when you have both these commitments and you know that you have a deadline for both the projects now? Because in that
Right.
case, you cannot go with the flow and you need to plan in advance. So my question basically is, how do you manage your time between both your jobs?
Right. So, I mean, I use the word multitasking a lot out here when people ask me. So, if I know that, suppose today, for example, today is a Monday, and Monday evening I have my workshop, right? A week prior I announce it, I'm taking in registrations, and to be honest, I don't have a team that will manage everything for me, so it's me single handed out here. Plus I have my job. So basically this is my entire life. Right hand is coding, left hand is taking in registrations. When my code runs and I hit that enter button, I quickly take the registration. Right hand is writing down the registration. I put everything back and I'm coding again. In that I drink my water, eat my food, and basically that's my entire multitasking. While coding as well, my mind is like, right brain will think about songs, left brain will think about logic. So I'm kind of used to nurturing myself into the multitasking behavior where I can do two, three things at once. You know,
Mhm.
along with that, I just plan my timing in a way where if I know that I have to be somewhere, say for a workshop, then I'll just plan my end time of work. And then if something comes up, I'll just put in an email saying, hey, I got to be somewhere, I'll work at night. And then after my workshop, no matter how tired I am, I will log back in. So basically, one, my multitasking helps me do everything, and two, my greed to make sure that everything is well satisfied and everyone's happy. So my work is happy, my dancing is happy, I am happy. That kind of helps me plan what I need to for the day, timeline wise.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You mentioned that your brain is nurtured in a way that it helps you multitask now. But I'm sure it was not always like that. You need to put in time to help your brain nurture in that sense. I'm sure you have days where you feel exhausted of both your jobs and you're like frustrated. How did you deal with these days early in the start? Because I'm sure that now you're used to it and you now have a mechanism to deal with it. But in the early days, how did you cope with this?
So the start itself, I was in college, right, when this hectic lifestyle started for me. All my friends used to live in the same area, and I used to live far from them. So after college, everyone would plan saying, "Hey, let's go have coffee, or let's go here, let's go to this club, stay over the night, and let's do this." And I used to be like, "Nahi, yaar, I have class, I have to go back," and my class was like really far, so there was no point for me to go and go back to my friends, right? So I would miss out every time, and that kind of left me a little aside, where I still have my friends, they support me a lot, but I just never was a part of their fun memories, right? And in the initial days itself, I used to go back home and I used to literally cry. I used to be like, I don't know what is happening, I'm so confused in life, I don't know whether I want to reach to the studio, I don't know whether I want to stay with my friends, I feel left out. So that's when my dad played a major role out here, where one day he just sat next to me and he's like, first of all, stop saying you're tired. Because I used to say that I'm tired of this life. I used to always say this. I'm like, I don't want to live this. I'm tired of this life. I want to just do one thing. And then my dad came to me. He's like, first of all, stop saying tired. Just say that, understand that tired is not in the word of my daughter's dictionary. I have not taught her that word. Okay. So that kind of made me think, saying, if I don't say I'm tired, how am I going to express that I'm actually tired? Right. And then second, my dad told me that you have the option of quitting. You can quit your dancing and go to your friends. No one's asking you to, pursue dancing. As long as you have your studying going on, as long as you're set, we have no tension for you. You go to your friends. But then he told me that, are you ready to quit dancing and not be the Sneha Desai, the dancer that you're known? And then I was like, no, I want that. I want my friends also. I want college also. So then the word never say tired actually kicked in, where I'm like, okay, Sneha's just learn how to multitask. And then basically that greed started getting me to multitask. So of course my social life was pretty sacrificed out here, but I was okay because I really wanted to be the dancer I was, and I also wanted to keep my parents happy by, studying this, that, etc. So yeah.
That phrase, never get tired, actually gave me chills. And that is so inspirational. And that's something that I'm going to keep in mind as well, always. But let's talk about soft skills now. I'm sure your dance job has taught you a lot of soft skills, leadership being one of the ones that comes on top of my mind. Do you think these skills have helped you in your day job with software development?
So dancing did teach me a lot of things that I use in my professional day job right now. One is time management. Two is multitasking, and three is a lot of discipline, where somehow it helps. I don't know, but it's just helped me not to get distracted while I'm working, and maybe because of the fact that I know that if I get distracted, I'm going to waste time, and that's going to make me reach late for dancing and my other things. So but yeah, more than that, multitasking is something that I've learned. So even in my day job, instead of doing one thing, I'll do two things. Say I'll code one of the things, and I'll do my verification also on the side. I'll do documenting also together, just so that I don't waste 1 week on the same thing rather than completing it in rather
Mm-hmm.
than I can complete it in 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's something that I picked up from my dancing and my passion out there.
Mm-hmm. So we have learned so much from you today, Sneha. We know that we can follow our passion and we can follow our profession. That's not something that everyone pursues to do because they think it's impossible. So, what is one advice you wish you had received when you were starting off your journey so that a new person, so that a new graduate who wants to do something similar can keep in mind and go pursue his passion and profession?
Um, so maybe in the start itself, like when I started living this hectic life right from my education days, the day when I decided that I want to travel from point A to point B, if my dad would have told me that time itself, saying never say tired, maybe I would have never broken down or doubted my capacity on pursuing this. And I don't know what could have gotten better, but I just felt that I should have received that advice way earlier than the time when I actually did. So anyone who would like to start, the only thing I would tell them before even they decide that they want to pursue both things is just never say tired and be greedy to pursue whatever you wish to pursue, because it's not impossible.
Well, on that note, thank you so much, Sneha, for coming on to the Career Show. It's been a pleasure to have you on.
Thank you so much for having me. This was truly an honor. I hope it helps everyone.
I'm sure people are definitely going to pursue in their profession just like you. And it's so great to know behind the scene of what goes on behind the Sneha Desai choreography. And it's not only dance, but it's also a full time day job of software development. So, once again,
Yeah.
thank you. It's been lovely talking to you today.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I hope you enjoyed this week's career discussion. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Your support means a lot.